Hi guys. Whoa, whoa. Here's ready to talk. Well, Jonas, who, by the way, Jonas, thanks for putting this on. Jonas is one of our coaches that works under Jim. And he says, you know, we do these lunch and learns. We should get really good speakers and just broadcast them across the country. So thank you, everyone out there in video land, and thank all the local people here. I want to tell you a story. So this was back in, so I graduated from Sac State, went straight into the mortgage business. And I'm about 1 year in, 9 months, 1 year. I'm doing like 3 loans a month. Like I'm just scrappy, trying to get deals. And you ever walk into a place and like you can tell the mood? So I walk in, the corporate office was low, like you could see 60 people as soon as you walked in, right? So I walked in from making sales calls one afternoon, and I walk in, I get about 3 steps. This person's red-eyed over here, this person's crying over here, there's huddled up people over here. And I'm like, I literally went straight back. Now, by the way, this is back in now 94. And for those that were in the business, a lot of you guys were, rates went up 2% in 2 months. So we were doing loans at like 6.375 back 30-year fixed. And they went to 8.75 was the high. And all that happened in 2 months. And the business was bad. Not kind of bad, I'm talking bad. We had a sales meeting every single week. We'd have it at this coffee shop across the street. There was about 40 loan officers. And the boss would pass out the stats for Sacramento County and stuff. So he passed out the stats one morning. This is about 3 months after rates went up 2%. And one of the guys says, hey, I think there's a typo on here. Because Sacramento County was selling about 500-600 homes a month. And the stat said 60 homes. Wow. And he says, I think there's a typo here, boss. It says 60 homes sold. I think it's supposed to be 600. He says, that's no typo. Bad. Okay. So a couple of months after that, I'm walking, I witnessed this, you know, like something was wrong. I went straight back to the CEO's office. I walked straight back and I said, hey, Jim, what's up? And I'm walking, I got about 4 seconds walking back there. I'm thinking, there must have been a massive layoff, right? That's what I thought he would tell me. And he looks at me at this desk and he's got red eyes. And he says, there was this guy, his name was Paul. Now, granted, I'm a 23-year-old kid. This guy, Paul, who is the top producer, was doing like 30 loans a month. I'm talking, he looked good, big, tall, reddish hair guy, wore $1,000 suits. I mean, that guy went pee. I literally followed him to the bathroom and act like I needed to pee just to talk to him. There's no joke, okay? So I idolized this man. And I asked Jim, I said, hey, what's going on? He says, Paul killed himself last night. I'm like, come again? This is my idol you're talking about. He said, oh, yeah, put a bullet in his head. Paul had went from closing 30 loans a month to 3. Now, I'm sure there's more to the story, but I watched it happen. I watched it where I went from 40 loan officers I worked with to 15. And it didn't take long. So that was my introduction to how crappy a market can be, right? How bad it can get. And what I remember telling myself is, I'm like, you know what, little kid? I do a lot of self-talk. So I was like, you know what, little kid? If you don't learn to sell better and triple your output, you're going to be one of them. You're going to be a statistic. And so I rededicated myself to like reading every sales book I could find. Podcasts weren't out back then, but I would have listened to 100 of them on sales. Like, I'm just like, I'm going to make it through this market. And that was a blessing, because what did that market teach me? Because a lot of you guys have been through some hard markets.
How to persevere.
Yeah. Like A, how bad it can get, and B, how to persevere through it, right? And that's one of the gifts that happened. You know, I was having a pity party last week, and a friend of mine gave me some wise advice. And he says, you know what, buddy, I'm going to tell you something. when you get to the point that there's always going to be pain in life, and you totally accept it, like totally accept it, you're going to be good the rest of your life. This is from a wise old man that I've gotten to know. So when you talk about, Jonas says, well, let's do State of the Union. I'm said, that's not going to take long. It sucks. Okay? So Rebecca, bring up my market conditions slide. This one slide kind of says it all. I'm not going to spend much time on this because what I want to focus on is how to change it. So rates went from 3% to 7% in about 5 months, right? I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think that's ever happened. Like, I don't think it's ever happened, right? Volume, now this is mortgage volume, but you see more of a normal market is somewhere around 2.5, 2.2, which was 2019. 2018, you guys remember that year? It was a tough market, right? 1.8 trillion. So this is residential mortgage loans closed. And then COVID years, right? 4.1, 4.4. I had a realtor friend of mine. I just called her to say hi over COVID, literally just call her as a friend and say, hey, how you doing? She answers the phone and says, are you another lender that wants to buy a house in Tahoe? That's how she answered the phone. I said, no, what are you talking about? She said, I've had 5 lenders buy homes in Tahoe this last couple of months or whatever, right? That was all the lenders making money. And realtors, right? Great years. Who had their best year in 2020 or 2021? Best years ever. No, I thought it would be like 90%, okay? So they were really good years. And then this year, 1.8 trillion. Now, reading between the lines here, what you got to understand is that what's different from 2018, 1.2 trillion to 1.8 trillion in 2022, the year we just entered. What's different? Home prices are way higher. So when you do the math on this, we're about 20 to 25% below 2018 numbers in sales.
Inflation.
So that's just like, we could get more detailed than that. That's enough. That's all we need to know. It's right. Hard. 2018 was a hard year. It's about 25% tougher than that, right? So that's in 2018 for those that were digging in. That was, for most people, was a really challenging year. Okay. Then you got home values. Obviously, went up a lot. This is stat is from like November, so now they're coming down a little bit. But average home, this is for America, 213,000 up to 308,000. I know our numbers in Sacramento, for example, are a little bit different, or some other areas that are on here. And then it says our issues have issues. So we've got doubling of rates, home prices up 30% in 2 years, inflation. Does the political and social strife that we've been through, does that have an effect on our industry? Yeah. So if you get one thing out of today, one of the things that I live by is people do how they feel. When they don't feel good, they're not buying, right? So when you talk about these issues in our industry and then couple that with other outside issues, it doesn't make people feel good, right? Just take inflation alone and the average person spending, I don't know, what is it, 400 more bucks a month in gas or something like that. So do we need to talk about more? I mean, is that enough? It's enough, right? The doom and gloom stuff. I'm not doom and gloom, by the way. I believe there's an opportunity everywhere. And that's what we're gonna shift to. Because we can talk about this stuff, but this stuff is in the past, present, and future. Past, right? Now, today you say interest rates going down, inflation supposedly getting under control, home values going down a little bit, which we don't love, but it's probably necessary, right? You take the average home in Sacramento selling for about 480,000, Jim, something like that. It's something like that. You do the math on what it takes for someone, they gotta make 10, 12 grand a month just to buy a starter home. Probably not healthy for us, right? So I think that there are some good things going on. But let's talk about what to learn from this. So I wanna segue, I wanna do a lot of tape work. So for those of you on video, do the tape work as well. I want you to take a moment and I want you to think about what happened and then what was the story we told ourselves? What happened? This is what happened, what we just covered. That's factual data. I didn't make that stuff up, okay? That's what happened. What story did we tell ourselves about that? That makes sense? So who's got an example? Who's brave enough to give me an example?
It is what it is.
John.
My mortgage origination fell significantly, and I feel like it's because I suck.
Yeah.
I'm the only one.
Oh yeah, I'm the only one. I suck. Listen, I tell people, I'm like, hey, you're not going to be in an industry that's down 62% in 1 year and like feel great. It's not going to happen. Like, so yeah, you personally attack ourselves. I've been guilty of that. I'll tell you a great story. That's facetious. Chris Ringrose is our CEO for this company, and we've been working together for 14 years. And I pride myself with a pretty good read of people. And about 3-4 months ago, I call her on video. She was working from home. And she says, hey, what's going on? And I said, you tell me, because she's always so cheery and bubbly. And she just was off. And she got red-eyed and she said, you know, that lady, that employee of ours that lost her 12-year-old daughter, died 2 months ago? Oh yeah, we contributed to the funeral, and yeah, I talked to her, like, that was horrible. I just laid her off. That makes you feel really good as an employer. That was my low. So yeah, we tell ourselves, oh, I'm not a good employer, right? That's where that goes. That's the story, okay? So important to identify what's the story that we told ourselves. And maybe it's different today. Maybe some people are still there. But I hope that one of the things we accomplished today is how to get through, what are you going to learn through this process and focus on becoming better salespeople, better influencers. That's what we're going to focus on the rest of our time. So share with a neighbor, shortest hair goes first. We all know what happened. What's the story you told yourself? One of several, right? We tell ourselves several stories. So go ahead real quick. 1 minute, 30 seconds each.
No, that's you, Doc.
Come on back, come on back. Come on back. Clap if you can hear me once. There we go. Okay, what are some of the stories that we heard, either from you or someone else? Did you guys not do the assignment? Short-term memory? Yes, Chelsea?
They feel like the reason why home prices have to come down or their listings have to come down is their fault as a realtor. Their clients are blaming them.
Oh, that's the story that they bought into, is you're a bad realtor because you sold me a house at the peak of the market.
Or you are listing my house at a price and now you're telling me a house to come down. I have to lower my price.
Okay, cool. What else? I'm more interested in the stories you're telling yourself, not what your customers are telling you. What did you tell yourself introspectively? Yes.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. No, we've never heard that one. Yes.
I think after talking to John, it was that I allow myself to lower my goal Like I was just accepted of that. Like, oh, I don't need this to get, it's not gonna be my biggest year. I'm just gonna try to make it by.
Yeah,
So
we'll just try and get by. We'll just try and, right? We're gonna talk about that. Good, what else?
I was saying, I just.
We have the new Mario Party. Yeah, it's.
Okay, so I gotta be more systematized or more process driven to do the same amount of volume. That's probably good, healthy speak, right? So my point is that things happen in life and what we tell ourselves, like back in '94, I told myself, hey, the market crumbled. I've got to my sales skills have to improve. That was good for me, right? It set me up to have a great career for a long time because I got really good at sales and I tended not, there have been times when I've taken it for granted, but for the most part, I kept that gratitude for the business, like good market, bad market. Some people, if he was just saying, how you doing, boss? I'm like, I'm freaking great. I really am great. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not dealing with stuff, okay? But think about it. If every time we have a fingernail break or the car breaks down and it blows up our whole day, we got to be better than that psychologically to ourselves, right? That's part of the point. So now, Rebecca, change my slide here. This is what I think the three choices are. So we get out. I don't know the stats on realtors. Someone told me something like 30% of realtors didn't renew or something like that. It's the same in the mortgage business, probably worse. It's 50%, right? It's just a math equation. If half the market goes away, half the people go away, right? So that you're not, because we're here, but a lot of people made that choice. Then you got some. Look, I'm just going to suffer until the market improves, which is what you just said, right? Which is, hey, I'm just going to barely make it by, barely make the bills until the market improves. Okay, it's probably better than getting out, but it's not much better. And then the third choice is I'm gonna learn new skills and or innovate, right? Nothing stays the same. I know there's a part of all of us that thinks, well, things they'll always stay the same, right? Do our kids live with us forever? I mean, I guess some of them do. You know, I pre-program my kids. I'm like, hey, when you're 18, just so you know, there's the door and you ain't coming back. Okay? But yeah, things change, things evolve, and that's part of nature, right? So I want us to focus on this one. And I'm not saying I've got the get rich quick pill, but one of the things that I've noticed is that my sales skills aren't good enough. So I'm rebirthing what I went through in '94. Let me give you an example. I want you guys all to close your eyes. Keep your hands to yourself, please. And I'm gonna lead you through a short story. So the story goes that I am a doctor and we're having a meeting today because you're all my sales reps for a new pill. And the pill is called the cancer pill. You take one pill, any cancer in anyone's body is 100% gone and erased. That's the cancer pill. You're my salespeople. We're gonna sell the pill for $20,000 a piece, and your commission is $4,000 a pill. You're my only salespeople in the United States or the world, for that matter. We've got a 7-year patent, so no one can copy us for 7 years. So we've got the cancer pill. Okay, open your eyes. What's the metaphor? Yeah. Let's say, right, there's clinical trials, it's been FDA approved, it works. Any cancer, you're gonna save millions of lives. You're gonna get rich in the process. You'd all be billionaires. True story, right? Are you gonna struggle to make sales calls?
Oh, no.
Why?
You can do it.
Huh?
You can do it.
Because you can do it.
It's easy to sell.
Believe in your product.
Everybody needs it.
So now relate that to our personal business. Why do we struggle to make sales calls?
We don't believe.
We don't really believe in our product. That's what's at the heart of all that, right? Like, I'm maybe not the best realtor. Maybe someone else can do a better job. Maybe I'm a little long in the teeth. I'm not as aggressive as young people. I don't know social media. Whatever the story is you tell yourself. So we're going to talk about this because it's one of the things that we're going to talk about. One is how to focus on what the client wants, what they really need. What's the result that they're looking for? Now, I thought I knew this. I wasn't as clear as I needed to be. So even a little unclarity can cause a lot of wasted time and energy. Second thing we're going to focus on is the 5 ways to get customers. We're going to brainstorm this. I think we know some of them. We don't know all of them. I'm not saying you should focus on all 5, but it's good to know what they are, okay? And the third thing is understanding the sequence of selling. We're going to talk about those 3 subjects. I think we will make some headway. Let's start with, one more slide, Rebecca. This is something that this does have a little bit to do with sequencing. A lot of us do the buddy sell. What's the buddy sell? Yes.
So you work with your friends, obviously, and people want to buy from their friends, so it's easier to stay in that little bubble.
Yeah, easy to stay in that bubble. Or if I want a new customer, maybe I can just be their friend or try and be nice to them so they like me and they'll use me to buy or sell real estate, okay? That's buddy selling. The problem with that is that they are attracted to you more than likely because of value, and then they become friends. And a lot of people reverse those two, okay? So I'm not against being someone's friend. That's part of relationship selling is what I believe in. How we create those relationships is what we get out of sequence sometimes, okay? So that's just a thought for us to think on. Okay, I want to delve into the first thing, which is the result that you want. Let me use some companies that we all know. What is the result that Amazon gave us? Yeah, delivery of any consumer almost any consumer product delivered to your door within 1 to 3 days. Free returns. There's bells and whistles to it, but the main problem that they solved was I don't want to go to Walgreens to get Q-tips. Right? Now, a lot of people don't realize this. Guess the sales of Amazon is $500 billion a year. They're double Costco sales. Before them, Costco was the largest retailer. 500, they doubled Costco. Double, I mean, it's just, but they solved the need that we all have. I was on the thing last night with my son. I wanted to order a couple books. People referred to me, he needed some underwear. Amazon, right? It's 8 o'clock at night. I don't want to go to the store and do all that stuff, right? What did McDonald's do for us? Not that any of us eat McDonald's, right? Probably most of us don't, but for some Americans, they did what?
Consistent, quick, cheap.
Consistent, quick, cheap food, right? Yeah, I mean, no one said it was good food, right? But they created an empire over finding the result that someone wanted. So the question is, I want you to write down to read my own stuff. What's the result? We'll do buyers first and then we'll do sellers second, okay? What's the result? I want you to write this down. What is the result that a buyer wants? Now there can be several, so I know this is confusing. There can be several, but write down what you think most buyers want. You could write down a couple things if you want. When you get done with that, write down what you think listings want. Again, there can be two. I know there's several answers to this, but we got to start with this idea, and then we're going to get it down into very specific words.
In a fraction of the time, all in
Let's get some responses out, because we're gonna go to the next thing that we do is actually where it comes together. So what is it that a buyer wants? What are some things that you wrote down?
Location. And location.
Find a house in the location that they want. Yeah.
Affordable, it's in the budget.
Something in their budget. Yes.
So just the
Asset,
What is it?
asset with value.
Okay. Have an asset with value. Okay.
Okay, full price.
What was it?
I said a good deal.
Yeah. Get a good deal.
No stress,
What is it?
no stress.
No stress.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. What about listings? What did you guys write down for listings?
That's the most money.
Sell for the most,
Net the most.
yep. No upfront money,
No upfront money.
Explain the process.
Explain the process.
to sell.
Ease of sale. Okay. Now, how many of you, we're gonna put all this together at the end, but how many of you have what you think is a really good USP, unique selling proposition? Because that's what we're creating, okay? Now, this next, on the same page, it says, put it in concise words. So if you think, let me give an example. I help first-time home buyers find homes $30,000 undervalued. That could be a USP, okay? I've never had someone say that. I'm a realtor. I help investors achieve a 15% cap rate on residential real estate. Let's say if they're focused on investors, okay? If someone called John Mastro with that, he might return their phone call, right? Or he might respond to that type of advertising because if he's an investor. So does it make sense where to go with your USP? I want you to create one for buyers and one for listings. To narrow our focus. If you're a lender, write it in lender terms. take a break for a second, guys. Let me say this, if this were easy, everyone would do it. This, to me, when I got into this market, I remember telling my executive team in June of 2020, I said, hey, I don't know how long this lasts, but this will be the best market we've ever seen. And whatever comes out of this is a complete shit show. So I started thinking of this stuff about this time last year. I'm like, okay, there's going to be some major change. What do we need to change in order to be ahead of this market a little bit or ride through it? Because something's got to change, right? Just saying, oh, the market sucks, I'm going to do bad. That's not my personality, and I don't think it's yours. So what if you say, well, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a realtor. What if one of the things that they wrote down, one of the areas that they focused on, they said, I help single moms buy homes for zero money down. Oh, now I know how to refer you. I've got a single mom. She'd like to buy a house. That's different. Okay. So we're going to talk about how to develop that kind of USP. How many homes does how many divorces does a divorce attorney do in a year? A decent divorce attorney. You guys know any? Hopefully you don't.
Yeah.
A good one will do 40, some will do 60, some will do 80, some will do 100. Okay. About 7 out of 10 need to sell a house. So you might say, I'm a realtor. I specialize in working with divorce attorneys so that they can settle the divorce. Better than just saying, I do listings and buyers. When it comes to getting new clients. Now, don't overthink this. What's your name?
Kathleen.
If Kathleen, if I go to Kathleen and she is helping single moms buy a house and she's helping divorce attorneys settle divorces, and I just say, would you list my house? She's not going to say, no, I only deal in these 2 areas. Don't overthink it. This is just about sales. This is just about when you're fishing, you fish with what? Bait, right? And if you're a fisherman, then you know sometimes they bite on some worms. Sometimes it's some little yellow minnow thing. Sometimes it's live worms. Sometimes it's fake worms. Sometimes it's power bait. You just don't know, right? But once you catch a couple and all your friends say, what are you using? And then they start catching fish. That's how it works, okay? So don't overanalyze this. We're talking about forward-faced marketing on how we attract clients. Once you start the discussion, they might call Kathleen about one idea and she totally does, they want to sell a triplex. She's not going to say, I don't do triplexes. She's going to take a listing, okay? So you see, it's very important to differentiate that because people are very literal. And they write these things down. They're like, yeah, but I've never done that. Or I don't know if I could be proficient in that or whatever. Just whatever you're passionate about. Like, let's say someone's a single mom in this room. They're like, I like that single mom idea. Great, let's go after that. You'll get more business if we know how to effectively get that message out. What comes to you will be all kinds of stuff, okay? So John, you're a VA loan specialist, but if I need a conventional loan, will you do that for me?
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's, you don't overanalyze this aspect of it. Who wrote something down that is specific that they thought, hey, this might be pretty good? Come on, John.
For every realtor partner, I will produce a current client referral 25% of the time and hand them back to you directly, thereby increasing your commissions.
Wait a second. Now, look, okay. So you understand, Sean's a lender and he says, hey, for every 4 loans we close, I'm going to make sure I get you paid. I'm going to find you a buyer or seller. Okay. Now, it would be better to dollarize that. People's brains, I've done a lot of sales coaching this last year. I hired a couple new sales coaches. When I say, Todd, that's where you teach sales all over the country. I need to be a student. Okay. I think you always need to be a student. Doesn't embarrass me to go get a coach. Some of you get embarrassed to say that. I'm not selling you coaching, by the way, but I'm just saying, some of you have your egos don't let you ask for help. Stop that. It's the first thing I think of is, I don't know how to do this. Who do I know to call? Let me research people to call. Let me ask for some referrals. Let me interview some people. Okay. That's my go-to. Okay. So Sean says, One of my coaches, I didn't finish that. He said something to me and it just has stuck with me so good. He says, Todd, you got to understand people have alligator brains. I'm like, what's that alligator brain? He says, if an alligator's hungry, he will eat whatever is in front of him. It could be a mouse, it could be a deer, it could be a zebra, it could be grass. Alligator brain, chomp, chomp. So you have to speak, when you're talking about these kind of things, you got to speak alligator brain. So alligator brain would be, Todd, you're a realtor, I'm gonna make you another $75,000 a year guaranteed. Alligator brain gets that. You start using too many words, alligator brain doesn't understand, okay? You use dollars, I understand dollars better than percentages. Alligator brain, okay? So when you work on this stuff, you wanna work on the alligator brain, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so Sean just said a good thing, but it was just a little complicated. Let's just simplify it. Hey, I work with 5 realtors. I guarantee those 5 realtors make another 75 grand a year working with me. Let me meet with you to show you how. I would say yes, especially if it's a short meeting. If you ask for 15 minutes, I'm in. You ask me for an hour, I'm out. So you also got to understand that alligator brain, okay? So find a way to put this in clear, concise messaging. And then we're going to do something with it. And I'm going to show you what that is in a second. Does that make sense, guys? Because I'm feeling like it's not sinking in. Yes?
Got it.
Yes? Okay. Alligator brain. We're not very smart. Alligator brain. That's the biggest thing that I've learned this last year. Like, I tend to speak too much about too much stuff and it gets people confused. He's like, no, dummy, alligator brain. Alligator brain, okay? I'll save you $30,000 buying your first house. Any alligator brain understands that. I'm gonna get you 10% below list price on any house. I don't know percentages, I'm alligator. Put the mouse in front of me, I eat it, okay? Keep it super, super, super simple and direct. That make sense? Okay? So now, you're like, Todd, what the heck are we gonna do with that? By the way, some of you guys are writing down some things and you're like, well, I'm not sure about that one. I would tell you what to focus on is focus on things that you're passionate about. If John Nastro, I happen to know, owns a bunch of rental real estate, and he knows rental real estate, maybe he wants to deal with investors because he gets them, he likes them, okay? Maybe someone's a single mom in this room and they're like, I like helping single moms because I'm a single mom. And I know how hard that stuff is, okay? Whatever some of you are veterans, how many veterans we got in the room? Thank you for your service. That's a simple one, right? Veterans always love other veterans. It's so simple, right? But sometimes we don't do what we're passionate about because no one ever just gave us permission, okay? If you love first-time home buyers, develop stuff around that, right? If, I don't know, maybe someone's a luxury realtor and they really go all in on luxury, but do it big and know how to speak to them in simple terms so that they get it, okay? Well, we're gonna come back to this in just a moment, okay? I want to segue. This is not a riddle, but I want you to write down the 5 different ways that we can get customers. Write them down. 5 different ways. There's only 5. Important as salespeople, we know what our avenues are, right? Huh? Mm-hmm. Only 5 ways to get clients, period. We make it more complicated, but it's not. Think we got them? Who's got one? Database, okay.
Friends and family.
Friends and family, okay.
Business referrals.
Business referrals,
Past client.
past clients,
Networking.
social media, huh?
Networking.
Networking,
Open houses.
open houses, yep.
Buying leads.
Buying leads, yep. Okay, Rebecca, I think it's 2 more slides ahead is 5 ways to get clients. Next page. Next page. Okay. So number 1 is reach out to people privately so we can cold call. Number 2, we can create content that attracts people to you. Number 3, we can run paid ads. Number 4, we can find affiliates or partners that refer you, such as a realtor referring another realtor, a lender referring a realtor, your lawyer sends you a client, divorce attorneys, that kind of stuff. And then number 5, customers tell other customers. So like buying leads would be paid ads. Like anything you guys said could fit in these 4 or 5 categories. Does that make sense? It's just a way to think about it so that there's less confusion. So when we look at these 5 ways to get clients, most of us do 1 or 2, maybe 3. Fair? And I'm not saying you should do all 5. Don't hear that. I'm just saying these are the ways that we can get business, period. For any business, okay? So we got to ask ourselves, hey, what are at least 3 areas that we want to focus on? And then how do we do that super, super, super big in a sequential way? How many of you, just curiosity, how many of you, when you think of all the deals you closed last year, realtor, lender, doesn't matter, just show of hands, what was your top source? Reaching out to people privately, we create content, we run paid ads, we find other people that refer us, or we call customers tell other customers. Okay. How many of you, your highest amount of closing was number 1? 1, okay. How many running content to attract people to you? How many that was your top source? 1. How many run paid ads? 1. How many affiliates refer you? Okay, maybe 20% of us. How many number 5 customers tell other customers? Okay. Now, are there times when one works better than the other? Yeah. Right? So I always believe in building a business on a 3-legged stool. So you got to have at least 3 of these that like you're really good at. Not 1. If it's 1, your business is going to look like a yo-yo.
Not a pogo stick.
Yeah, pogo stick. Bing, 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 bing. Okay. So if you have a super highly developed business, you could do maybe all 5, but I would say that's rare. Okay. 3 for sure. That makes sense? But you got to go super deep with all 3. Like really process driven on all 3. So when people say customers tell other customers, a lot of you guys had that. So you should be able to give me literally a 1-page document that shows me your process for making that happen over and over again. There might be 6 steps to it. There might be 12 steps to it. But there's a 1-page process document. You say, this is exactly how I do it. Every single week, month, year, this is what I do. This is the process. That's the lesson. Okay. Now, let's say that part of your process, like someone tell me what one of their processes is on number 5, because a lot of people have that one. Customers tell other customers. So how do you make that happen? What's 1 step?
Stay in touch with them so that they know how to refer you.
Stay in touch, show them they know how to refer you, but it's got to be more specific than that. Like if you would have said, I call 5 every single day of my life, that would be a step. That's a process. What you just said was not a process, it was a good thought.
Okay.
So process,
Monthly emails or monthly mailings.
monthly emails, monthly hard mailings, every single month. Okay, that's two different things, two parts to your process, okay? What else? Events, how many a year? What kind? Quarterly? Okay, I don't know, but if you had events on there, you would show me a process statement that says events every quarter, and you would tell me the 4 quarters what your events are. How many people come, right? But if we don't set metrics for all these things, it's not gonna happen. It's just a good idea, right? So take 3 of these things and build a visual process around it. I'm gonna show you an example. I'll show you an example. Is it time? Yeah, actually, let me show you an example in a minute. So before we show an example, I wanna talk about sequencing. Remember I said, people try and buddy sell and then hope that they add value instead of add value first and then get to know people, which is really how it works, okay? Same thing. So I'm having you to my house for dinner. Isn't there a process to that? Like if you showed up at my house and I said, hey, Nastro, thanks for coming over. I guess I should go to the store. That would seem out of sequence, right? You're like, no, Todd, you invited me over here 2 weeks ago. You show up, you got no wine, you got no steaks, I'm out. Right? That's weird, okay? So I know we laugh at these things, but I'm telling you, people do sales out of sequence. And then they wonder why they don't get paid. I've been guilty of this several times. You guys know DISC test? DISC?
Yeah.
I'm a 98D, which is a dominant personality. So I just want to tell you what to do and sign right here. That's my natural, honest to God, that's my natural personality, okay? Stop with any of the stories and rapport building and all that crap. Just sign on the dotted line, okay? But it does not work that way. There's a sequence to everything in life. Think of dating. People always laugh when I bring this up. You don't go on a first date, for those that think back when you're single, and someone shows up at the doorstep and they French kiss you. Out of sequence. That sounds weird. Hold on. If I were to follow most of you around every day, like tomorrow, I follow you around, you would be that person that French kisses the person at the door. You're so out of sequence. Every single one of you would make that mistake. I guarantee it. I've done it. I've watched people. They go out of sequence. There is a process to all this stuff. We don't want to follow the process. We don't even know what the process is. And then when we do know what it is, we don't want to follow it. And then we wonder why we are telling ourselves stories that we suck. Okay. Now, I'm not saying, just for clarity, I'm not saying that in a bad market, we're not all going to take a hit. What I'm saying is, what are we going to do about it? Right? What are you going to do about it? What are we going to learn through this process? What I hope that we learn is we learn better sales skills, better process, better USPs, right? All of that stuff. We're going to put it all into a bow. Okay. So let's talk about this. Rebecca, you got my next slide, I think it is. Oh, I skipped this part. Next one. Okay, so this is just an example, okay, of what your business might look like. But let's say that my concern in going over this is that you're going to try and copy it. Don't try and copy it. You're going to make your own. Okay, I'm just totally made this up. Okay, let's say that my USP is I'm gonna sell your home for $30,000 more than the average realtor in 2 weeks. Just made it up. Okay. For buyers, it's find a home and save $30,000 in 2 weeks. Just made up. Okay, just something we can all relate to. Yours can be much more specific. My target market is I want listings over $300,000 for people that need to sell in 3 months or less. Buyers, they're a first-time home buyer and they need to buy a home in 3 months. Okay, so I don't want the looky-loos. I want the, like, hey, we just had a baby and we've got 1 bedroom. I want those people, okay? So if I do initial contact, I can't read this. Can you move that?
Use the mouse, what's that?
Okay, so I'm gonna call 10 calls per day to past clients. I'm gonna meet with 1 affiliate per day. So for a realtor, who would be an affiliate? Lender, title, lawyer, right? Those kind of people. I'm gonna meet with 1 new buyer or sell appointment every single day. That's my goal. And every single day, I'm meeting somebody face to face. It's a buyer or seller face to face, okay? I'm gonna meet once a day with a past client. Okay, so a lot of you guys are mature in the business. We have lots of past clients, but we don't see them. So you like to live in this fairy tale world that, oh, they're just gonna remember me from 5 years ago. They don't. You have to take your connectors. Okay, like Doble has a lot of past clients. He should take his top 25 connectors, people that own businesses, they're hairstylists, they're you know what connector is, right? That we know who the connectors are because that's our personality. Take 25 connectors and meet with them all the time. Okay, you could go to lunch once a day with a past client. That's not a hard job. Okay, and we're going to do some social media stuff where we're going to advertise, and we're going to get at least 1 lead a day from that. Okay, as an example. And then when that client calls us, we've got a process we follow, right? So we build rapport, we qualify the client, we have a questionnaire filled out as to exactly what they want to buy. We set a specific time and date for the meeting, and we put them in the CRM for the auto drip campaign. Okay, that would be a process, right? So the process is followed every single time. Then, of course, you got to refer the loan to Summit Funding. Make sure you text them on a group text. That's the best way to refer. Hey, John, I just met with Jim. You're going to love each other. Jim, meet John. He's the best lender in Sacramento. I gave him your name and phone number. Please meet in the next 2 days. Thank you. Okay, that's simple. Okay. Then you're going to present in person. There's a process to that. How many of you have a process for how to present to a buyer? Like it's in writing, you follow it every single time you go through it.
I have it, yeah. I have it too.
Okay? I think there was 3 hands went up. There needs to be a process for everything. When you meet a buyer, there's a process. When you do a listing, there's a process. You know, a lot of you guys don't have a listing presentation, like a lot of realtors tell me they do, but they don't do it. But your escrow coordinator has a checklist that she follows, right? Or he, to coordinate the escrow, or maybe you do, right? Because you don't want to forget something. You don't want to forget whatever, title report. You don't want to forget the insurance, all that stuff. They're going to sign the contract, or if they're a buyer, you're going to show them 4 homes 4 times. Okay. Notice it doesn't say 16 homes 6 times. Oh, hey, that changes the relationship. Hey, Jim, here's how I work. I got your questionnaire shows me exactly what you want. I'm going to find it for you. We're going to show property. We're going to look at property. I need 4 3-hour blocks. I'm going to show you 4 homes at a time. We're going to fill out a sheet on each one, like a T sheet, on what you like, what you don't like, and what you would pay for that property. Okay. At the end of 4 showings, we're going to meet. We're just going to download a little bit. I'll refine my search if we haven't found the perfect house. I'm going to do this 4 times. If you don't find a house in 4 times, we will not work together anymore. Are you crystal clear? Yes, sir. Okay. But if you don't tell them that, they don't know that you're gonna show property 16 times. You have to tell them that because you're the one in charge. Okay, that's a process. So all these things have a process to it. Now, if you had all this done, there's not a person in here that wouldn't close. You would meet with 5 buyer listings per week. You would get 2 commitments or 8 a month. You would close 5 deals. At the average, that's 60 deals a year, 720 grand in commissions. You would keep about half, okay? This will work for anybody. You know what's funny? It's 23 years ago, I started professionally coaching people. I just gotta get this off my chest because I think it's such a misnomer. I thought when I first started that if someone looked like Tony Robbins or someone like that, that they were, that was, I had this persona in my head who would make all the money. You know, that's not true at all. I used to coach this one guy. David is his name, in the Midwest. David's a realtor, made $2 million a year as a realtor, was about 4'6" high, bald, little plump, and really dorky. 2 million a year net profit. That I've got 1,000 stories like that. So everyone, like what we think is what we think will work is usually, it's like the golf swing. Swing harder is what our body tells us. Swing slower is what works. It's almost, life is a lot of counterintuitive, right? So anybody follows this process. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care what your sex is. Doesn't matter. This works every single time. Getting people to do it is the hard part. Why did I say in the beginning that we don't sell like the cancer pill? We don't believe in our product. It's time to start believing in yourself. That's the message. If you added more value to people, you would feel more like the cancer person. Where you're like, no, dude, I've got a pill that's gonna save your life. And you got conviction like that, you're gonna do sales. Let me say it a different way. Give me a person who's convicted with no sales skills. Or give me a person with a ton of charm. This person's gonna win. The person with passion and conviction wins. But if I meet with you and you're not excited about selling my listing, or I meet with you as a buyer, you're just another agent, because you look at yourself as another agent, I'm not that excited. And I might use someone else and not tell you, which happens all the time. You know, some people are like, I was on a coaching call once and this person was like, Todd, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand how people this and people that. Rebecca, go ahead and cue my video. And I'm just like, hey, you ever watch that movie? He's Just Not That Into You? And she's all, no, go watch it, because that's what's going on. They're just not that into you because you're not that interesting. So I'm going to show you a video of how I do this, something that's coming out in April for Summit Funding for our realtor partners. Go ahead and play this. We're not going to play the whole thing, maybe 8 minutes or so. Oh. Sound? Rebecca, you got sound?
We don't have sound.
It's on her end. She's got to click share audio.
Rebecca, you got to do share audio on your side.
Stop sharing and then share again.
She's right up there. Do you see her, John? Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, while that's warming up, let me ask you a question. Number one takeaway so far. Raise your hand. I'm interested.
It's an exciting business.
It's an exciting business.
Yes.
Hey, lenders sell money. You sell houses. It's sexy. I'm serious. What do you do for a living? I sell copy machines. Not sexy. I sell houses. I sell people their dream homes. What? You get to do that? Okay. What else? Number one takeaways. Yes.
Can't wait to get better.
Can't wait to get better. Yeah. Anytime we do poor, it just means you got to improve skills. I hope that got through, right? Because that's how it translates to me. It's not God's being mean to me. My wife doesn't love me. My boss hates me. That's all bullshit. The truth is we just got to get better, right? That's that simple. Okay. Another takeaway.
Conviction wins.
Conviction wins. Passion, conviction. Yes, 100%. Yes.
I like just kind of focusing in on like, I want to help single moms, or I want to help a certain, like,
Okay. Yes, get
Thinking
niche.
about it.
I hope you guys got that. Take those 3 areas, get niche with those. Get niche. So you should have a value proposition for your past clients. You should have a value proposition. If you're going after first home buyers, there's a value proposition for them, okay? That speaks to the alligator brain. The alligator brain, you could tell that made a real impression on me. I'm like, that's why people do stupid things, because they have alligator brain. I'm always like, why would someone do that? Because they were there in the moment. It sounded good to smoke pot, Dad. I'm like, no, you idiot. Okay, Rebecca, go ahead.
So summit funding difference, more commissions now for our top realtors. You know, I've always believed that what we all want and need, frankly, especially in this market, is more business. And that this is about getting our top realtor partners more business. So let's dig right into it. The market has changed a lot. I know this is a blast of the obvious, but we're headed into some very, very challenging times. Probably the most challenging times I've ever seen in 29 years. Home sales are down 23% year over year. That's a big ouch. Rates went from 3% to over 7%. That's never been seen before. Less people are buying homes. That's the truth. Home affordability is at an all-time low because according to Case Shiller, our real estate values have gone up 30% on average across the country. And inflation, political and social struggles are very real issues today that we won't get into, but I think we're all aware of these things. So what does this all mean? Well, in the next few minutes, I'm going to lead you through a process that will probably change your life if you give me a few minutes. If you're going to make it and dominate again in this business, we have to have a plan. And honestly, most people that I talk to are just hoping that the market will improve, or they're willing to suffer until the market improves. And my view on this, hope is not a plan. So does this sound like you had the best year ever in 2020 and 2021, but now it's some of the worst times you've ever seen? You worry about where your next commission will even come from. You're working hard, but you don't know where to find motivated buyers and sellers. You sometimes lay awake at night and worry about the future. And you're sick and tired of gimmicks like Zillow that rarely work, and you're tired of paying for all this overhead without it producing significant results. So if that sounds like you, I got some good news. You just need to make what I call the summit funding shift. So what do I mean by that? Well, let me lead you through some strategic ideas on why all this works. First of all, this shocked me when I found this. Zillow's 2021 gross income was $8.1 billion with a B. That's up from 116 million in 2012. 198 people per month search on Zillow. I also think that COVID sped up the average consumer's use and ease of technology while searching for products and services. And then this last one blows my mind. The average person spends 2 hours and 27 minutes per day on social media, according to a bureau.com statistics. That is more than double what it was in 2012. So my point with all this is that things are definitely changing. These aren't things that I'm making up. Things are changing. And here's some things that I believe are not changing. I believe that real estate buyers and sellers still like to use someone that they trust. And I think the statistics back that up. So the question becomes, how will that buyer get to know you and only you in a world where there's a sea of information out there? The summit funding difference is a combination of using technology, leverage, social media, and sales funnels designed to obtain more commissions for you, the realtor. This is an overview on how we help our top realtors make another $75,000 or more per year in commissions. This is about us being true partners with you, not just, us doing a good job on the loan. So let's look at what that means. This is how the system works. So in simple terms, we use ads to directly target consumers. If you've never seen the backside of things like Facebook and Instagram, it allows you to do a tremendous amount of target marketing. That leads them watching a master class, similar to what you're watching right now. What that does is, and this is really what's different, this builds a lot of rapport with the potential client, which is different than just watching an ad. Then they set up a strategy call. So this is all automated. They've watched the ad, they watch the masterclass, and they say, yeah, I'm interested. You know, I'll do a 15-minute call. That turns into a buyer's application, and usually 90% of the time, they don't have a realtor yet. So that eventually leads to commissions. Now, we call all of this the Summit Lead Machine, or SLM for short, and it works. So let's take a look at more details here. So we spent $500 total in a month on ad spends. We had 9,700 consumers view our ad. We had 103 watch our masterclass. That led to 16 people wanting a strategy call. That led to 7 new buyers that didn't have a realtor, which led to 3 closed transactions. So now we have at least 3 to 7 more clients per month that do not have a realtor, and we know that they qualify because we've already done the loan application. So what is the result that a realtor really wants? Well, guys, I've owned Summit for 27 years, and I would love to tell you that, hey, our fast closings and our great programs and our great rates, that's all great stuff. That's all part of my job to do for you. But what you really want is a partner that helps you get more buyers, more commissions, so that you can increase your income and so that you can have more consistency in your business, which is always the death of 100% commission sales. Now, let me wrap all this up. So you take our SLM strategy that we just covered, we partner with the top buyers agents in our market, and we give you pre-qualified clients that make you at least another $75,000 per year in commissions, or another 7 transactions per year. So that is the value proposition that we're offering a select few realtors. We do all this for you. You don't have to do much, okay? We may ask you to do some ads in the future, but that's literally 1 hour on a Zoom call. So what we do require is that you use us for your mortgage loans. And we say 100% of your business. We do realize that you can't send us every single loan, but we expect that 60 or 70% of the transactions that you do, we are your lender, because now we're playing a big part in your business. So the result is you're closing another 7 or so transactions per year worth another $75,000 a year. And you can cut down on your marketing programs that don't produce results and save you another $10,000 to $30,000 per year. I was in Nashville doing a keynote talk just last week, and a realtor came up to me and said, hey, can you do something on Zillow, or does this work to get rid of Zillow? Because I spent $40,000 last year and closed 2 transactions. So yes, this can get rid of that. We understand that it may take some time for you to trust this and see the results, but once you do, you're going to get rid of some of those weird programs that don't produce results. The value that we give our clients. So this is a big one, guys. Many people can sell real estate and do a loan. So the bonus for clients that come through our system is we offer them what we call Real Estate University to help clients learn to create $1 to $5 million in real estate equity. So again, we have a similar program.
There we go. Okay. That goes on, but you get the idea. I just wanted to show you an example. Could you create, if you had a value system like that, take first-time home buyers, take a listing, could you do some simple video like that where so that they can know and trust you and get to know you a little bit? My point is you could do the same thing. John, you look at me like I'm crazy. In other words, could you take your value proposition? You just saw one of mine, right? Could you take that value proposition and do it for the areas that you want to focus on? Something similar, okay? Maybe not as long, but similar. Does that make sense? Then if you had that, you could, whether it's social media or your database or whatever, people could be like, oh, that's what he does, right? And they would start sending you business, or I might raise my hand and say, yeah, I'm interested in it. I've been thinking of doing that, okay? Does that make sense? So if you look at all this stuff, and Jonas, I think we'll do some Q&A in a second. If you look at all this, what is it that I'm proposing for myself and for you that we've got to get better at? Okay, if you put it in a nutshell, number one is I think we have to focus on adding more of value. I think we do that, but we got to really do it. In other words, what's an area that someone said they wanted to focus on? What's a specific area? Single moms, okay? So if you developed a single mom program, what might that include? Like, could you put 4 or 5 things in there that would really help single moms? Like, hey, personally budgeting for your new house, I teach you to do that. That would add value to me as a single mom, right? Does that make sense? Could you come up with 3 or 4 things that you could package? And then, whoa, that package is my single mom package. That makes sense? In other words, let me say it a different way. If you don't do that, and you don't have something to offer them, why would they use you amongst a sea of realtors or a sea of lenders in my case? Why would they use you? If there's not a reason, then we can't blame them. We have to say, no, let me take each one of my 3 areas and develop a package of information around that I can teach people. Is that sinking in? Okay. That's one thing that we talked about. We also talked about when you add more value, it's easier to sell, just like the cancer pill. In other words, I've been studying this. I'm like, how come people don't sell? Like I'm making fun of us in the room, but like, how many people really get on the phone from 9 to 11, make 2 hours of outbound calls? There's not a single person in the room. I guarantee you, they're not. But if you did that, we wouldn't, right? We wouldn't have these huge slumps in our business. In other words, my point is, we go through a really good market, we get a little lazy, we stop doing all the sales, and then something like this happens, and we're like, okay, we got to sell again. Gosh darn it, right? Shucks. But if we just did it every single day, and we were happy to do it because we felt like we were adding more value, now you're on to something. Now it's hard, it's easy to make those phone calls. Does that make sense? Okay. The other thing we talked about is using more leverage. You guys know, and I know the social media thing is a new way that people are getting information, but people don't know how to get deals from it. That's what this was about. We know how to get deals from it, right? I studied it for a year, and I'm like a dog with a bone with something. I'm like, people do all this stuff, but it's a waste of time, okay? But it doesn't have to be social media. Would direct mail still work? Yeah, it does, okay? We've got a section of our company that does that. They get 5, 6 deals a month, okay? It's not even that expensive. So my point is using more leverage, because if you're doing your 2 hours and you're doing it in a leveraged fashion, that is how you're gonna get a lot of deals, okay? And the last thing that we talked about was more sequence, right? It does, like let's say that I'm gonna meet with you about something and you shot a 2-minute video, not to me specifically, just a video like, hey, it's John. I'm so excited about coming to you and speaking to you about listing your home. Just so you know, here's what we're gonna go through. And he went through 5 little bullet points, and snuck in some stuff like, oh, by the way, I've sold 18,000 houses or whatever, right? Just real confident, really professional, shoot it one time, text it out to people before you meet with them. Now, half the time they won't watch it, but half the time they do. I'm like, oh, that's different. I'm interviewing 3 agents today, and that damn John Nastro sent me, that was pretty cool. Like, now I'm kind of excited to meet you. It's a little bit more rapport building, okay? You guys could do that, shoot that in 2 minutes on your iPhone, okay? So adding more sequence to what you're doing is very important. If I was a realtor and I'm getting ready to meet you and I'm a buyer, and I got a quick video from you about 3 buyers, 1 minute long, 3 buyers that were just thrilled to, man, I used John for my house. He's the best. We interviewed a bunch of them. Man, we had a great experience with this man. Another touch, more sequence, right? That's like an appetizer before the main dish. That's like a glass of wine when you walk in. More sequence to it, right? We'll get more deals that way. That was the whole sequence book, okay? What time is it? That'll be done in 3 minutes. Jonas, do you have any juicy questions? I know we're short on time.
You know what, Todd, what I was gonna ask everybody to do is if they had a question, knowing that we just have 3 minutes, go ahead and finish this, Todd, and then what I'll do is I'll make sure I email them to you. And can I guarantee them by the first of next week if their question's answered?
Yes.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
guys, you can put questions for Todd in the chat screen. If you have them, I will email them all your questions and let me know what city you're in and we'll get your response right away. We want to be respectful of your time.
Okay, cool. Guys, I'm gonna finish that story. Remember I told you last week I had dinner or drinks with a friend of mine, old wise guy. And sometimes you meet some people and you're like, when you're open, like the teacher comes, or the advice comes, right? So you remember what he's told me, that one of the 3 things he told me? You guys remember?
Don't French kiss at the door.
You don't French kiss at the door. Alligator brain. No, that was a different coach. So this guy says, yeah, this is the guy that said there'll always be pain in life. Okay, got it. No, he's like, no, really get it. People are gonna die. People are gonna get cancer. You're gonna have a bad year. You're gonna stub your toe. You're gonna break your leg. House will burn down. Like these things will happen. They will happen. So just accept it. Okay. That was the first piece of advice, but there was 2 more things. Okay. Want to hear what they are? I thought they were very insightful. He says, I lived my whole life this way. This is a very, very successful man. He says, the second thing you have to realize is there will always, for the rest of your life, be uncertainty. And that one struck me especially well. Maybe it's just the time that we're in, but it's been rough, okay? And we got to talking about this, and he says, Todd, I noticed that when my businesses are really rocking, my grandma got sick. And then grandma passed away, business went down, and I had to focus on the business. And then my son got in a car accident. And then he got better. And then my wife is mad at me for like 3 months, threatening divorce. And he just went on and on. I'm like, that's my life too. He's like, that's uncertainty. That will happen the rest of your life. So just be okay with it. Stop acting like you're surprised. I said, holy cow, that's insightful, okay? You know how realtors older than most of us would say, oh, well, the 80s people were buying 17% rate loans. That's their story of uncertainty. This is our story of uncertainty. We make it through this market. Are you pretty much guaranteed to do better than later this year, next year? Pretty much guaranteed. Like it can't get shittier. It just can't. Okay. But do we really accept that? Because I find that most people don't act that way. Their emotions their emotions overtake them. Like, oh my God, Todd, I just had my worst year in 18 years. There must be something wrong with me. No, got to develop some more skills in some areas, just like I do. Let's work on it together and get through it. That would be a better approach. The last thing he said, Todd, everyone for the rest of their life, especially, he didn't use alligator brain, but especially super alligator brain people, they think they can get through life without working hard. This gentleman I'm speaking to, 72 years old. He's like, I'm 72 years old. I'm super wealthy. I don't have to work, but as long as I have work, like businesses, I have to work hard. So I work hard. And I stopped trying to pretend like there would be a day where I could just coast. Like my reputation would precede me. John Nastro sold 3,000 homes. He's been doing this 38 years. And people should just come flock to me. No, because that's entitlement. So the opposite of hard work to me is entitlement. Because of entitlement, the little bird of entitlement says, you know what, bud? You've been working a long time. You shouldn't have to work this hard. You didn't have to watch everything you eat, right? You could get a little fat. Why not? But not if you want to look good. You don't have to go to that gym. You don't have to watch what we eat. Doesn't mean you can never have some ice cream, but we probably couldn't have ice cream every night, okay? So we're always gonna work hard. So that's from a wise old man. And I thought thought about it, and I'm like, damn it, he's right. If people master those 3 things, life's pretty easy. The only one I've really struggled with is the entitlement piece. Sometimes I get a little big for my britches. Like, don't people know who I think I am? Like, the truth is, no, they don't, and they don't care. So I've got to earn their business, just like I've got to earn your business. So some of the stuff, the video that I sent, that's very sexy stuff. That's all starting to come out in April. We're going to be coming to some of you and saying, hey, can you do this with us? We want to get you more deals. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all want. So let's stop acting like that's not what we want. Let's just say it, right? That's really, we're all 100%. We need deals, we need commissions, okay? So guys, if you're, you know, as we come out with that stuff, we can't do it with a ton of people, but if you're interested in that stuff, let your loan officer know. Send us a bunch of deals so that we can feed you more deals. That's how that works, okay? Besides that, guys, I really appreciate you coming. I appreciate everyone in TV land. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the event. And for those of you, if you, this wasn't part of the program, so you can be excused if you want to leave, but Sheldon Steele is doing, where's Sheldon? He's doing something pretty interesting. Because of Josh, we started working with the ADU builder, and it led to this. So Sheldon, can you come on up? Sheldon is good. For those that want to stay, he's got a way where you might be able to help some of your past clients with ADU building, because that now is approved in the state of California anywhere, and the state and the city and county can't block you, and they can pay you for that. So Sheldon wants like 3-4 minutes. For those that can stay, if not, you got to go. You got to go. Sheldon, what do you got going for?
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. Hey, first of all, you guys, kudos to you guys. If you're in this room, Todd is one of those guys. If he's speaking, you need to make sure you're in the room. So we're having some fun with this stuff. Michael, why don't you come over here? I just want to introduce you to my business partner, Michael Whitehead. And then Josh, why don't you come up here too? I think Josh has been intimately involved with us and what we've got going on here. And I think we'll kind of help paint the picture for our alligator brains.
Yeah, chomp chomp.
Yeah.
Well, here, just real quick, about 4 months ago, as Todd said, we were introduced to a builder that strictly focused on ADUs. That's all they did. But they were having financing issues with a lot of people just because of how that stuff gets done and second mortgages and things like that. And so they said, well, hey, can you guys help us? And we said, sure. Well, what's that look like? In the first month, they sent 75 leads to me, right? More leads, and honestly, I knew what to do. I'd never gotten 75 leads in my life, right? And I've been doing this since 2001. So, but very quickly, we realized that out of those 75 that month, these guys closed somewhere around like 16, 17 deals, 4 sales guys, 16, 17 deals for people that already owned their homes. You know how many realtors got paid on that? None. So here we're not talking about like $50,000 units. We're talking about $175,000 to $250,000 ADUs stick built on these properties. So it very quickly came to realize that realtors, you need to get a piece of this action. Look at what's happening in the market right now. Rates are going up. That means that people don't necessarily want to go and build or buy a bigger home because they can't, but they still need the space. That doesn't change. So this is an avenue for you. So at the end of the day, this was a builder, contractor, and a realtor getting together for realtors. I hadn't heard about that before. I'm gonna let these two speak on that.
Yeah. So basically what we do is we're training realtors, real estate professionals on how to help your customers build their ADU. So we have the platform built, we have the marketing built, we have all the tools that you need. Little just insight of what's happening in the market. Let me start down south and work my way north. Down south right now, LA County, 1 out of 4 permits that are ready to be approved right now by the County of LA is for an ADU. 25% of everything that's being reviewed is for an ADU. On track, what's going to happen if they continue to build at the rate they're building? By 2026,
1 out of 10 homes in the greater LA area will have an ADU. Why is that important up here? All of Northern California cities and districts are starting to model after what LA County is doing. So if you're paying attention to what's happening in the Bay Area, has anybody talked to a customer, heard about, seen the buzz around ADUs? Could you just show me your hands? Yeah, it's blowing up. Permits in our area tripling year over year since 2017. There's a massive opportunity here.
Yeah, no, and that's really it, guys. And now we're bringing those two worlds together, right? We realize agents are the genesis of so much business out there, right? Whether it's been your roofing referrals, your painting referrals, that stuff years over years over years, right? You've never gotten paid on it. I think it's wrong. So we're changing the game there, you know, and if you're a lender in here, right, and you need to create value, you need a reason to reach out to your agents, right? Pack a room full. John let us pack his conference room the other day, right, John? We were standing room only. It was awesome. We're actually packing this house Friday. We've got a certification class in here, and I noticed there's 49 on there, so hopefully the fire marshal doesn't show up. But you know, it's taking off, guys, and there's people out there that are getting a head start on you. So you know, I think it's important that to create value, to give you the reason to reach out to those past clients, right? To bond you to life with them, right? Keep that repetitive business going is what you need right now.
How does the realtor get paid on that?
We'll get there. I'll give you some good options. So
We're talking about money here.
and yeah, and that's why we're standing here is right. And if yeah, I mean, if you're a broker, an office manager, right, and you want that reason to make sure some of your agents out there aren't going to have to go get jobs as Uber drivers, right? This is an option. It's another revenue source. It's another niche where you can add money to your bottom line and keep yourself in business. I mean, I've been an agent since 2005. Right. I remember those 8, 9, 10 years. I remember, you know, debating whether I was going to ask my roommate for a bartending job. We don't want you guys to be there, right? Buildery exists for you guys. So, you know, going forward, best options for you. One, we actually do have another class Thursday in John's office again. John may or may not know that. But if you go to gobuildery.com, there is an opportunity for you to sign up right there, right? We've got a Thursday class. We've got a couple online options. That's going to give you an idea of right, our processes, our systems, what is there. The master class is going to take you step by step, right? We're going to teach you every bit and piece of the process along the way. We're going to give you the playbook so that you can get it done.
Sheldon, what's the website again? Go build.
Buildery.com. Buildry.
Build.
Yep.
Read.
.com.
Builder.
What's the reason? Okay. R build RY.
Yeah, there you go.
What does that stand for?
Nothing. It was
Nothing.
100% made up. So the marketing guys, yeah, the marketing guys literally said, "Hey, just make up your own word."
If I can, real quick, I want to kind of get to this young lady's question. Let's talk commission for a second. Just chop, right? What is the commission structure look like, just roughly?
Okay, 3% is what you're gonna make for bringing that referral lead to us.
Percentages don't mean anything. What's a dollar figure?
So our average build cost is 200,000, right? So our average build cost is 200,000, 3%, $6,000 commission, right? And ADUs are the flagship on this, guys. We do have some other services in there that you're probably gonna come right into contact more from a day-to-day basis. That will really help fill that out. But like Micah said, we've got to build 327 of these a day right now to meet the state's demand, right? You may not believe in the housing market right now, but this is solving a real need for families out there, right? Nobody wants to put grandma in the old people home anymore. You know, it solves the affordability issue, and we just have massive political tailwinds behind this right now, as far as money being injected. I mean, the state sees this as a real solution over the next 8 to 10 years as far as the housing crisis.
Yeah, and guys, I just think like this might be something that, first of all, everything you said, just because I got hooked up with Anchor Tiny Homes, they're selling 25, they're building 25 a month. That they could do 50 a month if they had the crew to do it. But you know, Alicia's got, you know, she might send a video out to her past clients and maybe 6 people want ADUs and she could make a little money. I don't think it's like, it's not huge, but it is a value add to your clients, and whether it's a home office, putting grandma in there or to rent it. Those are the three main reasons people are doing it. But the fact that there's only, how many states have came in and the state's government came in and said, hey, I know Washington, California, there's cities in Texas that have done it, but it's not every state just said, hey, anyone can have an ADU that where the footprint's allowable. In other words, it used to get blocked, right, on the permitting process. That's all. It's super hot because that law changed about a year ago.
January 1 is when it really changed of this year.
This
Yep.
year.
Yeah, floodgates have opened.
Yeah. So it's just a unique opportunity. Cool. Thank
Cool.
you guys.
Awesome,
Appreciate it.
Todd. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming.